Hello everyone, welcome you all. In the today's session, we are going to learn how we can locate elements inside Shadow DOM. So we already seen what is DOM in our previous videos. So DOM is basically document object model and which contains all the HTML nodes. And by using normal Selenium locators like CSS selector, XPath, and by using some basic locators, we can easily locate the elements within the DOM structure. But what is a shadow DOM means? It is something different than normal DOM. So the DOM is normally contains a shadow DOM. So which is, we can say, which is a subset of the DOM. And if I just look at here, so DOM is a tree representation of HTML nodes. Shadow DOM is a subset of the DOM. So sometimes what happens is the whole DOM structure, so which is contains multiple nodes, and there is a some other nodes which are again comes under one node. Let's say here this is a shadow host, and the shadow host itself is a node and which contains a shadow tree. So these are also different kind of elements and which are part of shadow host. So shadow host is a regular node that the shadow DOM is attached. So this is also part of the entire DOM structure. But the specialty of this shadow DOM is we cannot directly interact with these elements. So we cannot directly locate these elements. So most of the hidden elements will be part of this shadow DOM. So to locate these elements, we have to use a special approach because normally in the Selenium locators directly cannot locate these elements which are present inside the shadow DOM. So if I just look at this structure, the whole structure, so document, and inside this there are multiple nodes, and a shadow host is a normal node which can hold the shadow tree, and again inside the shadow DOM we have multiple elements. So this is called as a shadow tree. So now we will see some basic examples. So let me just show you one website where we can find shadow DOM. Let me open this application. Now here I'm trying to inspect this element. Let's inspect this element. And if I just look at this HTML DOM, and I'm trying to inspecting this element. So here you can see this is an input tag, right? So if you're trying to locate this element, so how we can locate is say Control F. So let me just use because this is an input tag, I'm using CSS selector. I'll say /id is available. So hash, I'll say input. So when I say enter, which is not able to locate this element, right? So let's go to the crow path and you can just type here and let us try to inspect this element. Right, so we have inspected this element and it is the crow path is also not able to generate X path here. So what does that mean is we cannot use any locators to locate this element because this element is a part of shadow DOM. So how we will know that whether it is a part of shadow DOM or not? So you can see a special block in the HTML. Let me show you that block. So if I just look at this is the element, and if I just go up, you can see shadow root, and this is again present in some other element, and this is present in another shadow root, and this is present in another shadow root. So this is a parent element, book app inside this shadow root. So inside this shadow root, whatever elements currently we have, we cannot directly locate those elements by using normal locators. Even XPath doesn't support to locate elements within the shadow DOM. So only the CSS selector we can use, but we cannot directly use CSS selector to locate the elements. So what we have to do is, first of all, we need to capture all the elements which are present inside the shadow DOM, and then we can interact with those elements by using CSS selector. So CSS selector is only the locator which will support DOM elements. Again, this is not a directly support. First, we need to get the shadow DOM elements, and then we can search for those elements. And XPath straightforward doesn't support, which we cannot locate elements by using XPath inside the shadow DOM. So now I'll show you how we can locate elements within the shadow DOM by using CSS selector. So for that, what you have to do is, let me just start writing a code. So here, let's go to Eclipse, and here, this is a package which I have created in my previous videos. I'll create a new class, and I'm just giving a class name is shadow DOM example. Okay, I'll say shadow DOM example 1. Okay, so shadow DOM example 1. Let us take a main method and then finish. All right, so now let me just write a basic code which will set the driver and launching the URL and all. Say system dot out dot sorry system dot set property. So system dot set property, we have to specify the key webdriver dot chrome dot driver and then location of my driver. And after that, I'll create WebDriver object. I'll say WebDriver driver equal to new. I'm using a Chrome driver. I'm using Chrome driver, and that's it. So this will launch my browser. So import this WebDriver and then import this Chrome driver. All right. So now once it is done, which will launch my browser, then I'll open my application URL. I'll say driver.get. And here I'm just opening this URL of application. Okay, and then after that I'll try to maximize this page by using driver dot manage dot window dot maximize. Okay, all right, so now we have opened this application, and then we need to locate the element. So let us try to locate this element with the normal locators, and we'll see what is an error it will get. So currently I want to locate this input box. I want to pass some value. Okay. So let us try to write our own XPath for this. So XPath anyway, it doesn't support because this element is present in inside the shadow DOM, but still we'll try and we'll see what is an error it will get. So here I have an ID. So I'm just going to use this ID attribute along with the XPath and to locate the element. So what I can do is I'll say driver.find element by.xpath. Okay, and here I'll write one XPath. This is // and tag name is input, and here I'll specify the attribute is ID and the value of the attribute is input. So whatever XPath I have written, which is right, and the problem is by which we cannot locate the element within the DOM, so within the shadow DOM. So and then I'm passing some value. I'll say send keys. I'm just passing some value here. Okay, so this statement is perfectly right. So let me just execute this and see what is the error we will get. Okay, now it is launched my web page, and now so it is trying to interact with the element. So now we'll get some error here. Okay, so now we got some error. Let's see that error here. What it is clearly saying is no such element exception, because the XPath which we have written is perfectly correct, but this XPath is not able to locate the element because that element is present inside the shadow DOM. So this is a exception we got when I use this method. Even if I use CSS selector also, we'll get the same error. So let me just try with the CSS selector now. I'll comment this. I'll say driver dot find element by dot CSS selector. Now how we can write a CSS selector? So tag and ID both we know. So I'm just writing tag and ID combination. I'll say tag is input and ID we have to specify with hash. So the ID value is also input. So tag name is input and ID is also input, right? So tag name is input, ID is also input. So both I have mentioned by separating hash tag and ID combination. And then I'll just say dot send keys, and here I'll pass the same value. I'll say testing. So this time I'm using CSS selector with the tag and ID combination. So now let us run this, run as Java application. Okay, so now it is launched my web page, but it is not able to provide the value. So if I just go here, and again we got the same exception. So no such element exception. So this is a problem, guys, with the shadow DOM elements. Okay, so with the normal locators we cannot locate the element directly. So now we need to find a way by which we can find the elements which are present inside the shadow DOM. So here Selenium normal locators doesn't work. So the only way we have is by using JavaScript executor, we can do that. Okay. So for that, what we have to do is we need to let us try to analyze the HTML here. So for this element, I have captured that screenshot. Let me just share. Okay, so this is the HTML code of that particular screenshot of particular page. So just let us try to understand these tags. So where exactly the shadow DOM is present. So here our element is there. So input is my tag. So this is my element. Okay, so here let me just take the pen. Okay, so here our element is present. So if I just little go up, so this element is part of this shadow DOM. So always shadow DOM is representing shadow hyphen root. So this is the shadow DOM here. So our element is present inside this particular shadow DOM. And again, this shadow DOM, if we just go a little bit up, so boot hyphen input hyphen, I think this is a not part of this shadow root, guys. So because this is a part of this one. So in this tag book input decorator, we have this element directly. So this shadow root is also available, but there are some other elements which are part of shadow root. So this is a shadow DOM. So we don't need to do anything with this. So our element input element is directly present inside this tag. So book input decorator. Right. So this particular element, this particular tag is again present inside this tag. So here also shadow root is there, but this element is not part of the shadow root. This is not part of the shadow DOM. So we can directly go and refer this element. And app toolbar, again, if I just look at here, this app toolbar is not part of the shadow root. So this is again shadow DOM elements are there. But if I just look at here, app hyphen toolbar, this is a element which is not part of the shadow root. So under shadow root, we have only these two elements, style and div. But these two elements are not part of shadow root. So again, this element is a part of app hyphen header tag. And now this app hyphen header tag is a part of shadow DOM. Now we can just look at here, app hyphen header, which is a part. Right. So here shadow root tag is a part of book hyphen app. So here in this app hyphen header is a part of shadow DOM. So now to locate this input element, what we have to do, where we have to navigate is we have to navigate from this particular tag. So first we need to go to the shadow host. So this is a node which is holding this DOM. So this is called as a shadow host. And first we need to get this shadow host by using this shadow host, we have to get this DOM. So shadow root. And once you get this shadow root, now we need to navigate here. And from there, we are going to directly here, and there can go here, and there we can get this element. So in this particular structure, so here there are shadow roots are there, but whatever tags we are expecting, whatever elements we are expecting to get, these are not part of the shadow roots here. But here at the beginning, this element app underscore header is a part of shadow root element. So this is a shadow DOM part. Okay. So now we'll see how we can get this shadow DOM element, and inside the one shadow DOM, so rest of three elements are present. So in this page, there are multiple shadow DOM elements are there. There are multiple shadow DOM blocks are there, but we are going to get this element from the first to shadow DOM itself. Okay. There are multiple shadow DOMs are there, but if I just look at these tags, so the input tag is present, book input decorator, so which is not part of this shadow DOM, so we can just ignore it. Now book input decorator is another tag which is present inside the app underscore toolbar, and even app underscore toolbar is also not part of the shadow DOM. So this is a part of app underscore app hyphen header. Now app hyphen header is a part of shadow root here, and if I just look at here, this is a child node of shadow root. So this particular DOM, we have to get it by using shadow host, and then from the DOM we can fetch this element. Okay, so this is the process. Now let us see how we can get this shadow DOM. So for that we have to use JavaScript executor class. So now let me show you how we can write a JavaScript executor class. So before that, we need to get this root node. So what is a root node here is, if I inspect this element, so app hyphen header. So this is the root node. Under this, the shadow DOM is started. So we have to get this shadow DOM by using this root node. Okay, this is called shadow header. So let me just get that element, and that is a normal element. We can get it from the DOM itself. So driver dot find element, I'll say by dot, and here I have only tag, so app hyphen enter. There are some attributes all there, but I have only one tag with this name, so I can use tag name to get this element, app hyphen header. So by dot tag name, right? So sorry, so this is app hyphen header. Okay, that I am going to specify here. Right, so I got the root element. This is my root element, and we can call this as a shadow host. Okay, shadow host, or we can say root element. So it is a root element actually. Shadow host itself is a root element which can hold the shadow DOM. So now this is a shadow host element, and I will just give some name. I'll say web element. This is my root. Now import this web element. Okay, now by using shadow host element, I can get the shadow DOM. So by using this element only, we can get the shadow DOM. So how we can get the shadow DOM? Again, if we go back to the picture, so by using this element shadow host, I'm just want to get the shadow root. So how we can get this is we have to write a JavaScript executor class. Okay, this is the only way we can get the shadow DOM. So for that, what you have to do is we have to write, I'll say JavaScript executor, right? So JavaScript executor, let's say JS equal to, and here we need to typecast JavaScript executor class with our driver. So what I have to do is we need to assign the driver, and first of all import this JavaScript executor, and this is a lowercase letter. So JavaScript executor, then import this class, and assign the driver to Java JS. So, and driver is a different object, so we need to do typecasting. So how we can do this is we can simply say JavaScript executor here. So I'm just casting the element. Just a moment. Yes. And then JavaScript executor JS equal to. So this way we can just create a JavaScript executor object, and then by using this JavaScript executor, we have to run one command. So js.execute script. Okay, so inside this, we have to specify something called one parameter JavaScript statement we have to execute. So that is return arguments, right? So return arguments of 0. So return arguments of 0 and the dot. There is no second argument here. Okay, the second argument will be the root element. So by using this root element, we have to get the shadow DOM inside this root. So the first element will be return arguments of 0 dot. There is a method called shadow root. Okay, so this is the first argument we have to pass, and the shadow root will be returned from which node? The root node. So that we have to specify here, and then semicolon. Okay, and this will again return a web element. So we have to typecast this as a web element. Okay, and import this web element. Okay, so we'll do that later. So import this web element and store that in a variable. So this is my shadow DOM 1, and I create this as a web element. Okay, so let me just repeat this statement once again. So we have captured this element. So we have captured this book-app. So this is a normal element. Okay, and by using this element, I just want to get this shadow DOM and shadow-root. So to get this, I have written one JavaScript here. So JavaScript executor JS equal to driver, we have to typecast into JavaScript executor, and here js.execute script, and this is a statement which will return shadow DOM, and by using this shadow root, and that again return the shadow DOM as a web element. So now shadow DOM, okay, shadow DOM 1, I have saved that shadow DOM is in a variable, so which is shadow DOM 1. All right, so now by using the shadow DOM 1, right? I got this element now, shadow DOM, I got it. So inside the shadow DOM, so there are so many elements we have, and inside the shadow DOM, we have multiple or nested shadow DOM also will be there sometimes. But whatever element we are expecting here, that will be there inside the first shadow DOM itself. Because inside the shadow DOM, there is multiple shadow DOMs are there. Here it is one shadow DOM and here one more is there. But our element, if I just look at the hierarchy, which is present inside the book input decorator and which is part of app toolbar and which is part of app header. And this app header is a part of a shadow DOM. So now we got the shadow DOM. So from this shadow DOM, we have to first capture this element, app header. From this, then we have to capture app toolbar. From this, again, we have to capture book input decorator. From this, we can extract input. So here we are dealing with one shadow DOM now. So we already got the shadow DOM into this particular variable. Now by using this, we can extract these elements one by one. So now I'm going to do that. So use this element, shadow DOM element. Okay, and dot, I'll say find element by dot. So what is a app header I want to extract? So what is a app header is my tag name, and I have another attributes, but with this tag name we have only one element, so I can directly use a tag name. So I want to extract this app-header. So by dot tag name, and directly I can specify app-header. Okay, that's it. So now this will return the element, this element from the DOM, a shadow DOM. Okay, and that will return again one more web element. So I can store this as web element, and this is app header. So I'll say app header tag. Okay, now we got this element from the shadow DOM. So this is the only element we have to capture from the DOM, guys. Okay, shadow DOM. And again, this element is following this one, and this element is followed here. This element is followed here. So input tag is from book input decorator, and book input decorator is from app toolbar, and this is again part of the app header. Okay, this is again normal web elements we can extract directly. Fine. So now by using this web element app header, then I want to extract this element app-toolbar. Okay, app-toolbar. And again, app-toolbar, there are two elements we have here. Under app-header, there are two app-toolbar tags are there. So which one I want to get? The second one. Okay, so here I want to get the second one. So what I can do is I'll additionally add this class attribute. Okay, I'll additionally add this class attribute. And one more thing here is we can use only CSS selectors to get these elements inside the shadow DOM. So I'm just going to get this app toolbar, which is a second node inside the app header. So to differentiate these two elements, I've just additionally add this class attribute also in the CSS selector so that I can differentiate these two. So now app header, I'm just taking this element from this dot find element again by dot CSS selector I'm using now because I just want to differentiate these two, because if I use tag name, so these two elements are exactly the same. So to differentiate these two, I'm just going to use this class name additionally. So here tag with the class attribute. So combination I'm going to use. So how we can separate tag and class? So tag name is app-toolbar, and I can specify like this app-toolbar and dot. So what is the class here? Class is toolbar-bottom. So toolbar-bottom. Okay, so toolbar-bottom. So now with this CSS selector, I'm able to capture this particular element, and this will also return another web element. I can store that in this variable. I'll say web element. This is this element is app toolbar, right? So this is the one, app toolbar. So I'm saving as app toolbar. Done. So now we have navigated till here. So from the root node, we captured the shadow root element by using JavaScript. From the shadow DOM, we got app header. From there, we got app toolbar. So from there, we have to navigate to book input decor. So these are not part of a shadow DOM again. So these are only element app header, which is part of shadow DOM element. Now I need to get this book input decorator, which is also a tag which is part of app toolbar. And if I just clearly notice, the shadow DOM is there here, but this element is not part of this. Okay, this element is still part of app toolbar. So now I'm using this book input decorator tag. I want to capture this from app toolbar. So by using this app toolbar, again, I'm finding the element, find element, and tag name is book input decorator, book input decorator. Okay, so I can use tag name itself. We have only one element. So I can say by dot tag name, and here the tag name is book hyphen input hyphen decorator. So book hyphen input hyphen decorator. I'll say decorator. Okay, so now we have captured this element. So book hyphen input hyphen decorator, and this will also return one more web element. And what is this element? This element is this one. So book input decorator element. I can store that here, web element, and this is book input decorator equal to then app toolbar dot find element. All right, so what we have exactly done here is, so here we have to close the quotation. So what we have done here is, from the shadow DOM, we have captured the app header tag, and from the app header tag, we capture the app toolbar, and from the app toolbar, we capture the book input decorator. So inside this element, our actual element is present. So inside the book input decorator, and there is again one more shadow DOM is there, but our input is not part of the shadow DOM. Our input is a part of book input decorator. So we have to capture this input tag, that is exactly our search box here. And how we can capture this? I have ID and tag. So I can use CSS selector along with the tag and ID combination to get this element. So how we can use, take this book input decorator dot find element by dot CSS selector, and here the tag is input and the ID is also input. So ID is also input. So now I'm using tag and ID combination, and here I'm going to send a value. So send keys, and I'll say testing. That's it. Okay. So now this particular statement is able to locate the element. Okay. So let me just repeat once again. And this is the DOM structure of the whole HTML page. So this is the element we want to actually locate. So this is the element, and if I look at this element, this is a part of book input decorator, and again this is a part of app toolbar, and this is again part of app header, and this is a part of shadow DOM. Okay, and here also you can see shadow roots, but whatever element we are expecting here, they are not part of the shadow DOMs. If they are part of the shadow DOMs, again we have to capture the shadow DOM. So once again we have to write a JavaScript executor, right? But here we have written only once because we have to capture this shadow DOM. From this we got this app header. From there everything we got it in the hierarchy mode. Okay, so this is the process we have followed. Now let us run the script and see whether it is working or not. So let me run as Java application. Okay, now it is launched my application. Okay, so it should enter some value here. If it is not enter, definitely there is some issue. Let me just check that issue. Okay, so now what exactly is saying? No such element exception. So still it is not able to find something. So what it is not able to find here is app header is not able to find. So let us fix that error. So where exactly we use app header, and we use app header here. Okay, from the shadow DOM one, we have to capture this element, right? So this is app header, and we use by dot tag name. That is fine. So shadow DOM also we got it here. Shadow DOM one dot find element by dot tag name of app header, and this is a web element. Okay, and perfectly fine. So let us put some wait time. So I think this is correct statement. Return argument of 0 dot shadow root. Okay, comma root. So perfectly fine. So let me just put some implicit wait. Sometimes it takes some time. So after creation of the driver, so what I can do is I'll say driver dot manage dot timeouts dot implicitly wait, and here I can say 10 seconds, and after that I'll specify certain some time unit, so time unit dot seconds. So once you put this implicit wait, then if there are any lagging the time, so it will just wait for those elements. Okay, so app underscore header css selector, it is not able to locate somewhere, so this is a css selector. And this is app underscore tag name, so this is a tag name, and this is a class app hyphen toolbar and toolbar hyphen bottom. Okay, so let's try to execute this, save, and one more time we will try. Okay, so still we have an issue, so let us cross check what is an issue. Okay, so we got that issue. So here the problem is this one, guys, app hyphen header. So actually when you see this shadow DOM, so the first shadow DOM is present inside the, this is a root actually. So from this we have to navigate, not this one. So by mistake I have mentioned app hyphen header. So if I just look at here, so this app hyphen header is also part of book hyphen app. So we have to first start with this. This is a root node. So book hyphen app is a root node. From that we have to get the shadow DOM. So book hyphen app is a root node. So if I just go here, and as soon as we open the page, so here the first thing which we have to get is app hyphen book hyphen app. So that is a node. So book hyphen app. Okay, and now this is our root node. So book hyphen app is my root node. So from this, by using this book hyphen app, we need to get the shadow DOM. So this particular root we have to pass here, then it will give you shadow DOM. So from this shadow DOM, again we have to get the app header, and from this again save process. So this is the only mistake we have done. So now let us execute and see whether it is working or not. So let's run as Java application. All right, so now it opened the page, now maximize, and then it is able to pass the value. So this is how we can locate the elements which are present inside the shadow DOM. So we have to use this JavaScript executor class. This is the only way we can do that. Okay, so sometimes here in this example, this element is present inside the multiple tags, and directly we got only one shadow DOM from this whole DOM structure, and all rest of the elements are present inside the one shadow DOM. So sometimes one shadow DOM contains a multiple shadow DOMs. Okay, so for example here, this is one shadow DOM, shadow root, and here one more shadow root, and here one more shadow. So sometimes we can see one shadow DOM inside another shadow DOM, and the elements will be there uh, in nested shadow DOMs. So in those cases, how we can get multiple shadow DOMs? So every time when you want to get the shadow DOM, so we have to execute these statements multiple times. Whenever you want to get the shadow DOM, so we have to execute this statement, and here we have to pass the shadow host. And once you specify the shadow host, this will give you the shadow DOM, which is part of that particular shadow host. So if I write this statement multiple times, your code will be very huge, and that is not good thing. So what we can do is, so as a best practice, we can just write a method, a Java method. Inside this, we will keep this code, and whenever you want to get the shadow DOM, we have to just call this method by passing the shadow host. Okay. So now I'll show you how we can get multiple shadow DOMs from the DOM, and then we can see how we can interact with the elements. So I'll show you one more example, and this time we will see how we can extract multiple shadow DOMs from the DOM structure. So let me just open one more application. Okay, so this time I'm just using this one. So in this application, we have some products here, and you can see this men's outwear and ladies outwear, and so some elements are there. So here my requirement is I want to just click on this, the first element, shop now, for the men's outerwear. Okay. Now when I just right click on this element, just observe this DOM. And if I just look at this DOM, let me just maximize it. Okay, so when you just look at this DOM, so here this is the element I want to interact. Okay, so here my element is there. So this element is present shop button, and again this is present inside the div, and this is present inside the shadow DOM. So we can see here shadow DOM root is there, and again this shadow DOM is present another shadow DOM, and again if we just go back and this shadow DOM is present another shadow DOM here. So there are multiple shadow DOMs are there. So I have already captured the screenshot into a screen. Just here you can analyze very clearly. Okay, so now if I just look at here, this is our element which we need to locate. This is the element, and this is the element which is part of shop button. So this is a tag, and this is again part of this div tag. Now, so this particular part, right, the entire thing is part of the shadow DOM. Shadow root we can find, and this is a shadow host. So by using this node, we have to extract this whole shadow DOM, and then we can interact with the elements. Now again, if you look at here, this shadow DOM is associated with the shadow host, right? Shadow host node. And again, this particular node is a part of another node. So this is iron pages. So this is a part of this one. Okay, so this is not part of this shadow DOM. So this is again, there is one more shadow DOM, but we no need to do this anything. We no need to do anything with this. And these are all elements part of this shadow node, shadow DOM. And again, this is the part of the element, not part of another shadow DOM. So this is a part of the iron pages element. Now again, if I look at this iron pages tag is a part of this particular shadow DOM, because this is one element, this is another element. Okay, these are all different elements are there in the top shadow DOM here. And this iron pages is also part of the shadow DOM here. Okay, now if I just look at here, so this is the main shadow DOM which we have to extract by using the shadow host. So by using this tag, so this is a root tag. So this is our root tag. So by using this root tag, we have to extract the shadow DOM. Now inside the shadow DOM, we have this element directly. We can access this element directly. So by using this element, from this element, we have to go to another element. So this is also an element. Now here it is a root. And by using this element, we have to extract the rest of the shadow DOM. And here we can find this element here. So how many shadow DOMs we have to interact here now? So we need to get to two shadow DOMs. The first one, this is the first shadow DOM, and here this is the second shadow DOM. So in between there are multiple are there. So here this is one, but we don't need to do this anything with that because our elements are present inside this normal nodes, right? So let me just show you once again. So this is the element which is a part of the shadow node, and all three elements, so blue color arrows are representing the normal nodes which are part of shadow root, which is shadow DOM, and this is a shadow host. So by using this host, we have to capture this, and this is again part of the node, normal node, and this is again part of the shadow DOM, and this is root header. Okay, so now let us see how we can do this step by step. Now let's go to Eclipse, and here I'll create another class. I'll name it as shadow DOM example 2, and this time we have to extract multiple shadow DOMs from the DOM. Okay, so the JavaScript executor we have to write multiple times. So instead of writing multiple times, we can just put that in a reusable method, and whenever you want to get the shadow DOM, we just call that particular method. All right, so here I'm just going to write the basic stuff like system.setProperty, and here we specify the key and the location of my driver, then import this Webdriver, new Chrome driver. All right, so then I'll say driver dot get, and here I'll specify the URL of application. So this is the application URL, and after that, if you want to maximize, you can maximize this. I'll say driver dot manage dot window dot maximize, and if you want to put implicit weight, you can also put implicit weight here. So I can say driver dot manage dot implicitly weight. So timeouts dot implicitly weight, and here I'll give 10 seconds max, and time is time unit dot seconds. All right, so this is a waiting time I put. So now I have opened this URL and then maximize the page. All right, so now here we have to start. So as a first step, what you have to do is, so we have to get this first shadow DOM by using this shadow host node. So this is a root tag. So what is the root tag here is shop-home. Okay, so that is the shadow DOM we have to extract. So this time what I'm going to do is, I just want to create a reusable method, right? I will call that method whenever you want to get the shadow DOM. So for that, let's keep this main method one side, and then I will create one user defined method here before doing all these things. And that method will return. So let me just create one method, get shadow DOM. Okay, and here from this code, I'll just pass two parameters. Let me write properly, get shadow DOM. Okay, this is my method, and inside this method I will pass two arguments from the main method, from the main script. So what are those two arguments? The first argument is web element, because if we want to get this shadow DOM, right? So what we need to pass? We need to pass a shadow host element. So by using this element only, we can get the shadow DOM. Okay, because the shadow DOM is associated with this element. So we need that element. So we need one element. I'll say this is element, and the second parameter is a WebDriver. So I'll pass a WebDriver parameter to work with the elements. And what this method will return is, this method will return a web element. I'll say the return type is web element, and I'm trying to access this from the main method itself. So main is a static method, so I will define this also as static method so that I can access it. So web element, without creating any object, I can directly access this method inside the main method, because main is also static, and this also static method. Okay, all right, so this is a method, so I just created, and we have to write a return type later. So now, so previously what we have done is, we have created JavaScript executor, right? So let's go to the first example again. So this piece of code I have created. So now this time I'll put that code inside the method. So JavaScript executor, right? So JS equal to JavaScript executor driver, and then here shadow DOM equal to web element JavaScript executor script, and here these parameters are same, and whatever element I'm getting here, that element I'm passing here as a root element. Okay, and then what this statement will do, this statement will return a web element here, and this web element I'm storing into this variable, and that web element I'm returning here. Okay, so this is a method which we have to create. So if you want to extract multiple shadow DOMs, you have to create this method like this. So now we can extract any number of shadow DOMs from the main DOM. All right, so this is a user defined method we created. So we need to just pass one element. So what is the element we have to pass here is this one. So shadow host we have to pass, then it will give you shadow DOM. And here also, here we have to pass this shop-home. This is shadow host element, then it will give you shadow DOM. So that's the reason. So 2 times we have to call this method in your script. So apart from this, we should also pass the driver, because here we have to use a driver to get that element. Fine. So this is our user defined method. Now come back to the actual script. So now the first and most important thing is, we have to, right? So we have to first extract the first shadow DOM by using this root node. So what is the root node here? Shop-app. Shop-app. So this is a root node we have. So by using that root node or shadow host, we have to extract the first shadow DOM. So this shadow DOM contains everything. So here, this is a shadow root, so which we have to extract. So for that, I say driver.find element. Okay, and by dot tag name I can directly access, so that I have only one tag with this name, shop-app. So here I'll say shop-app, and this will give you the root node, right? So this is a root node or shadow host. So by using this shadow host, we can extract the shadow DOM, and here I'll store this in a web element. I'll say this is a root node. Okay, so by using this node I should get the shadow DOM, right? So then I have to call this method to get the shadow DOM by using this root. So how to call it? You simply say get shadow DOM here, and we have to pass two parameters. One is the root element, the second one is the driver which we have created. So two parameters we have to pass, and then we have passed two parameters. Then what you will get as a return type? So we will get a shadow DOM as a return type. So that's a web element. So here we will create a variable. I'll say shadow DOM 1. Okay, and this should be web element. So now by passing the root tag and driver into this method, I got shadow DOM. So I got the shadow DOM in this variable. So now I enter into the first shadow DOM. Now if I again check the structure, so we are here. So inside the shadow DOM, so this node we have to recognize iron-pages. Okay, because inside the first shadow DOM, so there are so many elements are there, but which element, our element is present inside the iron-pages, right? So first we need to go to this element. We need to go to this element again. Inside this element we have a shadow host. Okay, first let us go to this element. Iron-pages is a normal element. This is not a shadow DOM. So by using this shadow DOM element, we have to capture this. So iron-pages is the next element. So by using the shadow DOM 1, I'm capturing one more element. I'll say find element, right? So by dot tag name, and here the tag name is iron-pages. So iron-pages. So I got this element. So from the shadow DOM, I got this element, iron-pages. Now inside the iron-pages, we have one more element called shop-home. Okay, I have to get this element, and then I can use that as a shadow host for the next shadow DOM. So iron-pages I captured. So I'm just storing that in a variable. I'll say web element iron-pages equal to. So now I got the iron-pages tag. So inside this, we have one more tag called shop. So we have to get this one. So shop-home. So again, take this iron-pages dot find element by dot. Again, you can use tag name, and the tag name is shop-home. Or you can use a name attribute also. You can say shop-home, name is there, class is there. So you can use a name. So name equal to home. So you can simply say instead of tag, you can use name, and the value is say home. Okay, so this will return iron-pages. So this is a normal element. Now by using this element, again we have to, so we got the iron elements here. From the iron elements, we got the home. So from the iron elements, we got this home. So shadow host. So here we are. So we are here. Okay. Now by using the shadow host node, again we have to extract the shadow DOM. So this is a shadow DOM, which is a part of shadow host, that is shop home. Okay. So how to get this shadow root again? So again, this time we have to pass this shadow host root to the method, and that will return this shadow DOM. So this time I'm again calling that method second time. Okay, so this time we have to call this method once again, show shadow DOM, get shadow DOM, and the first parameter is element. So iron-pages, by using this iron-pages, I got the home element from the page. So home element I got. So I can store this element and one more variable. So here I'll create one more variable, web element shop home. Okay. Now this is a root element now. So by using this root element shop home, I have to extract this shadow DOM. So to extract this shadow DOM, I have to call that JavaScript method. So get shadow DOM, and I'll pass this element. Shop home is my element along with the driver, and this will return the shadow DOM element, and that I can store in a variable. Let's say web element. This is shadow DOM. This is shadow DOM 2. So we already extracted first one. Now this is a 2. So now we have extracted shadow DOM 2. So now we are here inside the shadow DOM. So here we are. So inside this we have again navigated. We have to navigate till here. So inside the div tag, so there is a shop button, and inside the shop button there is anchor tag. So this is actually button. Okay, so div, shop button, and inside this anchor tag. So these things we have to navigate. So for that, again, we have to use CSS selector, because there are multiple anchor tags are there. Each anchor tag, we have a shop button tag is there. So we cannot use directly tag names here. So what I can do is I can use a CSS selector here. So from this shadow DOM, okay, from this shadow DOM 2, I can extract the elements. So to extract the elements, what I can do, first I will go to this div, and again inside this shop button, inside this anchor tag. So if I just look at this application directly, you can understand here. Okay, so you can just look at here. We have reached till here. Okay, shadow DOM. So here style tag is there. There are multiple div tags are there. Okay, so here how we can write a CSS selector. First we need to go to div is starting from the second point. Okay, so here the CSS selector we have to use like nth child. This is second child. Div is the second child. So style is the first one, div is the second one. And inside this, there is anchor tag and shop button. So we need to go to anchor tag. Inside the anchor tag, here we can find that this is actually header part. So this one, right? But we don't need this. We need a button. So inside this shop button, we have to go, not in anchor tag. So inside the div shop button, inside this is the actual button, shop now. So this is the element we have to extract. So this is the second div element. The div element is second one inside the shadow DOM, and inside this shop button, inside this anchor tag. So this is a hierarchy we have to specify by using CSS selector. So again, all these elements are present inside the shadow DOM. So whatever shadow DOM we have extracted, shadow DOM 2 dot, again find element, right? So find element, and here we use CSS selector by dot CSS selector. And here we have to extract. So this div is a second element, right? So this div is a second element inside the shadow DOM. So we have to write like this. So I'll say div. This is a CSS notation, nth. So nth child of 2. So there's a div is a second child. So I'll say nth child of 2. So div colon nth hyphen child of 2 inside this greater than. So this is a CSS selector notation, guys. Okay, inside this, which we have to go, we need to go to the shop button. So inside the tag shop button. So here this is a syntax which we have to use CSS selector. Shop button we have to use. Shop button is a tag name. So I say directly shop hyphen button. So inside the shop button we have an anchor tag. So again, one more greater than anchor tag. So if you navigate through the tags inside CSS selector, this is a syntax which you have to follow. So till here, this is a one node. Inside this shop button is another tag. Inside this anchor is this is another tag. Okay, so we have navigated till the anchor tag till here, and then close the bracket, and then here we have to perform the click action. So I'll perform the click action. Done. So to reach till this element, we have crossed 2 shadow DOMs from the HTML. So this is the one shadow DOM. Inside this we have element. Inside this element again we have one more shadow DOM. Inside this we have final element. Okay. So if we have a multiple shadow DOMs, we can just write one user defined method like this, and we can call this shadow DOM method any number of times. So we have called 2 times. So here once we have called, and then here second time we have called. So now we have extracted shadow DOMs. Then by using the shadow DOM element, we can extract whatever element we need. Okay, so this is how we need to write a script to capture multiple shadow DOM elements. So let us run the script and we'll see how it is going to work. So right click, run as Java application. All right, so now it is launched my web page. Okay, maximize. Now it is click on the shop now button. So for the menswear outwear, so it is giving all the t-shirts here. Okay, perfectly fine. So what I can do is I'll just try to change here. So on the same application, so instead of clicking the shop now for men's or outerwear, here I'll say shop now ladies outerwear. I want to click on the second button. So what I can do is instead of clicking on the div and the child 2, I'll say 3 here. Okay, so because if I just look at here, inspect this element, so the same shadow DOM structure will be there. The only thing is previously we have clicked here. So we have clicked here, this element. So now we are entering into the second div tag, shop button and shop now button. So this is only small change. So let us execute one more time. All right, so now we can see it is exactly clicked on the ladies outerwear shop now button. Now we can see the all the dresses here. Fine. So this is how we can handle or we can locate elements which are present inside the shadow DOM. So we cannot directly locate those elements by using XPaths. So we can locate those elements only by using CSS selector. Okay. So that's all for today's session, guys. So please practice, and which is very, very important. And we don't have a direct locators to locate shadow DOM elements. So this is the only approach by using JavaScript executor, we can do that. Okay. So if you have any queries, please put me in the comment section and please practice. All right. So that's it. Thanks for watching.